So I am interviewing my great grandmother on the riot in Baltimore in 1968, and it says that the reason of the riot was because Martin Luther King has gotten assassinated. But I know that there are more reasons to the riot. So can you explain why everyone decided to start a riot in Baltimore?
They started the riot because they know that Martin Luther King was fighting for the rights of the black Americans and for we can have rights as any other group that they were. So after his assassination, they didn't like that. So what they did, they began to terrorize the city, burn down the cities, which is first started like in Washington D.C. And from Washington D.C., it started that morning, and about 4 p.m. that Saturday afternoon, they began to terrorize the city of Baltimore, Maryland. Not only burning down the city, but began to loot and whatever. And it was so bad, the mass, because they had to call in the troops to come in, National Guards, to trying to help to calm the city of Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay. So my next question is, where in Baltimore did the riots begin, and like where did it spread to?
Well, the first began to terrorize, it was like in the east side. It started over there near Broadway, and within an hour or so, it just spread so rapidly, it had came to the west side, which started like near Pennsylvania Avenue, and it on down Dolphin Street, and just like Carey Street, Emerson Avenue, and it went all the way out into the village, and it spread it from the west side to the northeast side, and this happened from 4 p.m. and they terrorized the city for about 2 whole days, and it spread national wide or in Baltimore, Maryland, from the city to the county.
So you said that they terrorized the city for 2 whole days, and one of my questions was, how long did the riot last? So it lasted for 2 days, or did it last longer?
Much longer. It lasted much longer because they gave the people of the city, we was on a curfew, and the curfew was till 9 p.m. Anyone out on the streets after 9 p.m. that night, unless they have a work permit or they was coming in, either have on their way to the hospital or anything, they would have to be brought into the police station. Those the only one that had the right, the workers and the ones who was coming into the city. Other than that, each and every one would have to be in no later than 9 p.m. And it not only just lasted 2 days because the national called the National Guard in, and then they went from different little cities in Baltimore all over, and it really lasted for over a week,
Okay.
each and every day.
Okay. And how early did the riot start? Because I read something where it said that the riots would start as early as when the sun rose. So how early was
It
that?
did. That was all day long. Sometimes you awake to the noise, which was sometime it would be 7 a.m. on through the day, all day long up until when they gave that curfew. And even though they had the National Guard here, they just couldn't keep their eyes on every part of the city. So just where the National Guard was, and that was made it more prone to someone to just burn down stores, loot, just carry everything out as much as possible that they can. This would last all day long up until 9 p.m. when they put the curfew on.
Okay. So my next question is, I saw something that says that you were told to put black tape in or ribbon in your window, and I was wondering why exactly was that?
The reason being is because Martin Luther King was black. We didn't have our rights before 1965, and like the reason being, so when he was assassinated, the reason being they put the black ribbon in that to let each and everyone know the people that was doing the looting and the rioting and the burning, it let you know that was a black person establishment. And that was the reason, our notification to let them know that was a black establishment or even a black person home.
Okay. And what are some of the things, some of the actions that people were doing in the riot, like, and if you were a part of it, what was your action, your choice of action?
Well, me myself, your grandma, great grandma was not a part of it, but there were people. The action was that they stole everything that they could. They looted the liquor stores, they looted the furniture stores, and anything and everything that they could get. That's what they got, and they may not could have carried it up and down the street in their arms. So what they did, they got baskets from the markets. They had carts and everything, and they rolled from refrigerators, all type of furniture up and down the street to taking it to their homes, and that's what happened during that time. But if they had gotten caught, the policeman would take them to the police station, and they would have to pay. They paid the consequences for their crimes.
Okay, and was it just rioting or was it also protesting?
No, at that particular time, it was just rioting. The
Okay.
protesting, no protesting, just rioting, rioting and burning. Just all the establishment was it like a lot of streets was a total chaos with just burning down stores.
Okay, and my final question is, who was the mayor at the time and what was his reaction of the riot?
I'm thinking, granny getting old, I think it was Mayor Schaefer at that time, and that he's the one that called in the National Guard to try to ease people's mind and to ease the rioting and all. So he did a great job because the people that was punished, what had gotten caught, they was punished. The people that had stolen furniture, the people that had them to come into their homes, and if you did not have a receipt to show that you purchased that particular furniture, it was taken out, and he made sure that you paid consequences for which you was jailed. You had to pay the money back, and then you had to do jail time. He was very, very prompt on giving the criminals what they needed, and that was jail time and to pay for what their mistake by looting and going into people's stores, which was a no-no.
Okay, and I know I said that was my last question, but I actually have one more final question. While I was reading the article on the situation, it was comparing it to the Freddie Gray riot. And how would you compare? Would you say that the Freddie Gray riot is equal to what everyone was doing in the riot of 1968, or would you say the riot of 1968 was worse?
No, the rioting in 1968 wasn't as bad as Freddie Gray, because the things that they did in Freddie Gray's rioting, all some calls for gunfire, they was burning up policemen's cars, and all of that. It was much, much worse. Freddie Gray was much worse than Martin Luther King, because at Martin Luther King they were just going in liquor stores, getting food, getting furniture, and burning of stores, which this they burnt down. And Freddie Gray, it was a total chaos. It was much, much worse because they didn't even listen to what the policemen asked them to leave and go home. They decided that they was not going to take that action. So Freddie Gray was much worse than the era of Martin Luther King looting and rioting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That is the end of our interview. So you can say bye.
Bye bye, and I hope that I have shed a little light on what happened in 1968.
Thank you. You have.
You're quite welcome.